I'm the top news. They watching my moves. Hating me on the shade room. Yeah, I'm bad. Boujee. Don't give me no rules. I do what I choose. Got you binge watching on Zoom. Up the road, epico.
Hey, guys. What's up? It's your girl, Bad and Boujee, also known as Sharice Mills. You already know what time it is. Hey, guys. So I can't wait to introduce you to our special guest for today. She has been on 2 amazing shows. She's also been in a movie. I think it was a movie. I can't wait for her to tell you all about it. Her memorable moments on this show definitely reminds me of when I did my first show, because you know they coming for you hard. They always hating on you, and I felt like, hey, why not bring on another girl that was most hated on the Bad and Boujee podcast, right? But first, I want to say my prayers go out to all the families that were affected from this past school situation. I got to be real careful and censor myself when it comes to this situation, because you know how YouTube is with their laws and rules and regulations on talking about certain topics. But I pray there's a change. I pray that we actually do something about it than just having moments of silence. I pray that maybe schools change their laws and rules on doing background checks, and just like how, you know, when we move to a house or area, you know how your phone pops up and they have predators and whatnot. What is it called? Quan? Pedophiles and whatnot, and all these things on your phone. They should also do that for kids in school and whatnot. So I pray that we find some way to make a change for that, because it's crazy where we got 10-year-olds that had their breakfast, and the next thing you know, they don't make it home the next day. You know, it's just unreal. I get goosebumps talking about it, because, you know, I want to have children one day, and the last thing I want is to kiss my kid when they go to school and then they don't make it back home. So my prayers go out to them. And honestly, I must say, y'all are going crazy on the gram about a lot of shit that happened this past week. I know people are mad that the bad bitch section LV talked about being a baddie and becoming a bad bitch. I saw y'all comments. Guys, I get it. People want to be a baddie, but you got to elevate. I was actually happy when they said that. You know, a baddie is like you younger. Now you got to grow up and be the bad bitch, right? So are y'all ready to really grow up? Or y'all going to hold on to that baddie life? Think about it. Think about it. It's time to grow up. Speaking of growing up, I'm going to bring my guest on the show. I'm going to introduce her. She was formerly known as Boots. Let's welcome Larissa Hodge to the show. Hey,
Thank
Larissa.
you. Hey.
What's up, girl?
Nothing much.
She's so chill, I swear. I walked in the room. She's like, hi. I was like, girl, come over here. Give me a hug. So, Larissa, let the people know, you know, I know a lot about you because I've watched your show many, many times. I've actually followed all of the seasons, but you were on season 2 of
Flavor of Love.
Yes.
The best season.
The best season of it all, because I kid you not, that season was so lit. For those of you who don't know, Flavor Flav and Flavor of Love, not the history behind all of it, and the Charm School. You were on Charm School too with a certain person. You know, we'll mention that later. So tell the people, how does it feel now being off of reality TV? How's your life?
My life is pretty great. It was great before. So
Do you miss
for people, I don't think so. Only because when our show was out, we didn't have social media except for MySpace. So, you know, with MySpace, we add the people on. So it was I just remember so many people wanted to be added. I didn't have time. A lot of girls didn't have time. We didn't understand how big the show was at that time, because social media was new. You know, everything was so new. I think nowadays, if our show came out now, we would have had so much backlash. Like, I look at some of these people on reality and I'm like, I know we would have really got it. I said some crazy things.
You want to talk
but
about
I
that?
stand on them. I stand on them all.
Yeah, I want y'all to go back and watch season 2 of Flavor of Love and see what she's talking about. I don't know. Is it appropriate
And
for you
Charm
to...
School.
On Charm School too? You was bad on Charm School, huh?
I think I was straight to the point.
So do you and Monique get along now still, or no?
No.
Damn, all these years? I would like to have
Yeah.
a sit down and a conversation with you and Mo. Would you ever consider that?
I guess. The reason I say that is because I feel like she's had many opportunities and she's never taken it. And the opportunity that she actually had it could have been a private conversation and she didn't take that. And yeah, that's why I really don't. I can't even curse on here, but that's why
Yes,
I
you
really
can.
don't deal with her. Oh, you can? Okay. But for me, I just don't. This is one thing that I don't like because a lot of people don't understand why I don't deal with her or why I don't like her.
So let the people know.
So I'll let them know. Like I said, we were one of the first reality shows to blow up and people to really want to do reality. So at that moment, if I see someone, like if my grandmother tells me, oh, I don't support that type of show, she's not going to host a show after that that's worse, like Monique did. And I don't respect anybody who will talk bad about us when we paved the way. She talked really bad about us, including her friends and a lot of other people, you know, that were in the industry because we were one of the first ones. But then you turn around and she's hosting, you know, Love and Hip Hop, where girls are, they do worse than what we've done. So it's one thing to stand on what you believe in, which, you know, I felt she believed what she said, but something in my soul told me it was just all fake, like I said on the show. And it was, because if I say I don't like something, I'm not going to go host a show that's worse and sit there while people are cussing each other out worse than what we've done and support that, but you didn't support us. And I feel a way about that because you said we were disgrace to Black people, which we are not. But when you were on that particular show, those girls or women did not receive backlash at all. They were able to cuss each other out in front of her. They were able to be themselves, and she respected that. But why didn't we get the same in return?
Right.
So, you know, I just say stand on it.
Do you think she was biased about it?
I think she was jealous. I think that her seeing us rise the way that we did on that show, it was new to her because only Hollywood stars were making it where we were. And I think she was jealous. And I think she didn't like the fact that I was seen in certain spaces that A-listers were at. A lot of the girls were not there. My publicist and myself would be there. And I think that sometimes, you know, just like back in the day, probably even now, how actresses and actors would feel a way about rappers going into their fields. So I feel like that was sort of the same situation, except for with us, we're the most hated, especially me. And it's like to see me in public, I would have thought if you're going to make it a show, be a show, like she told me on the reunion, but it was not.
Right.
I've seen her in private spaces while I was pregnant. One of her celebrity friends had the same doctor as myself.
And she said nothing.
Said nothing. And her friend said, "This is the girl from the show."
Wow.
She was so sweet. Her friend was sweet to me. I didn't know she was sitting in the lobby until I looked, and she had a very evil look on her face.
Wow.
And I just smirked because I came out I was waiting for the doctor to deliver a baby, and I came out to get water, and I didn't know that her friend was there. We had like the same doctor appointments because my baby was due like 3 weeks before hers, but my baby came late. So she was like, "Why didn't you have the baby yet?" Talking to me. And then that's when she said, "This is the girl from the show. This is the girl from the show." And she just gave me an evil look. At that moment, it's just 3 of us.
Right.
So
why you could just be woman enough and been like, you know what, my bad, something.
Or get an understanding of where I was coming from and why I felt the way that I felt. But instead, I was given a dirty look. And so for me, I feel like I don't know what it is. Only thing I could think of is in that moment, you didn't like the spaces that we were in, specifically me, and you didn't like how our show rose. But like I told her on the show, you're on our platform for a reason. You know, we were popping. Like we were the it girls. So, you know, I just wish that it was the same respect that she had on the other platform with the girls. Let them be themselves, and then you chime in on whatever you want to chime in. But if you're going to stand on something, stand on it all the way. That's what I believe.
Girl, I feel you on that. And I completely agree with you. Because if you really feel like, okay, this is what I stand for, then you stick beside it. If not, then you just full of shit.
Right.
You're full of shit. And it has to be the fact that she was just mad that you guys weren't Hollywood actresses or even musicians or whatever, but was outshining her. Gotta be. You know, I honestly just dealt with something similar to that this week, where a content creator is upset that I'm doing a show possibly on the same network as them, and because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do by promoting and giving little teasers here and there and doing what I'm doing, they upset and want to say, oh, I'm supposed to be Queen B, and if you're working with Queen C, I'm not fucking with y'all. I said, what? Hold up. See, that seems like jealousy in your heart, because we're supposed to be on the same side and win together, not separate. You feel me?
Right.
And I feel like that was the ultimate problem. She was mad that you were winning. You winning too. You were part of it too. What's wrong? What's wrong?
And in actuality, you know, I told her I used to like her. I loved Queens of Comedy and things like that. But after that, I was like, nah, I don't like that. Right. It's not just a show. We're using our real names on Charm School. It wasn't like Flavor of Love. And I felt disrespected. I felt attacked. I didn't feel other girls were treated the way I was. Some girls did get, to be honest, you know, some girls did get called whores and different things like that. But I just felt we should have been given more respect than what we were given, especially when I see years later you respecting women that are cursing each other out in your face, and you say not 2 words, but years previous, you had so much to say. You know what I'm saying? Belittling us.
Well, this is why you rose, regardless of all the hate, regardless of how hard they put you through those hurdles on that show, you still made it towards the end. You see what I'm saying? You still got so far.
Well, I left Charm School.
I know,
but
I know, but you made it far. You made it far.
Yeah, I possibly could have won. All the girls were saying we knew that you were going to win because Monique was saying, I guess they were saying Monique said that I remind her of herself.
Wow.
But I don't believe that. I don't know what to believe at this point. But when I see people that are, I guess, what's the word? Protesting for others to give them an apology, and they have never apologized to the people they've done something to, I have a problem with that.
Wow. I hear that one. That's what I'm talking about. Well, you know, would you ever consider doing another charm school?
No.
Why
I
not?
really think that I didn't even know that was going to be charm school. For the record, I was told that it was going to be, which is crazy, it was going to be like The Apprentice.
What?
Yeah, and we were going to win a real job with Kimora Lee Simmons. That's what I was told. It was going to be like, you know how Baby Fat was hot back then? That's what they told me. When I got there, that's why I'm standing there looking crazy, because Monique comes out. I had no clue she was the host. I didn't have a problem at that moment because nothing had happened yet.
Right.
But it was just like Charm School. I had no clue that we were on Charm School. In my eyes, it should have been something more so like Bad Girls Club. It should have been more so us in a house doing our own thing and getting to know who each individual woman was on that show. That's how I felt.
So you feel like, okay, they just switched it all up on you and put you on the spot, huh? Okay.
I think it was more so a shock, like, why are we on Charm School? But then I was like, okay, maybe they just thought it was a cute storyline because we were the real bad girls. You know what I'm saying? So I said maybe that's what they thought. But then when all the other stuff that we were being called was just crazy. Like just the whole, you know, oh, disgrace to black women. But then you have friends that are hoes who are out here that I've actually got into, we've been at it in the DMs.
Girl.
Who have talked about us on reality, but then they trying to do reality and couldn't make it. Yeah, so this particular lady know exactly who she is. She too old to be arguing with me for Monique. Couldn't even last on one show.
Wow. If y'all know who she's talking about, put it in the comments. You know, we like to start up the thing. We like to put it in the comments if y'all know who she's talking about. You know, can we all just get along? That's what I say.
Right.
Can we all just get along? Okay, so going back, because you talked about being in the doctor's office, I remember seeing a video on YouTube of you talking about having a situation with your uterus where you had, I don't know if it was called...
Oh, okay. Fibroids.
Because I know my sister suffers from fibroids. I know it's a serious matter. It is cancerous. You know, and luckily,
really? Well, mine were
Luckily, you didn't have the one that can cause cancer.
Right.
And It's something that's very touchy for me because when you talk about that, it's like it's so close to your ovaries and whatnot. And I'm sure that was so scared for you, especially when you were pregnant with your third child, right?
Yes. So my journey with fibroids was, I knew that this was going to happen only because my grandmother told me that they had issues with it and it runs in the family. But you know how somebody tells you something you don't really, you're younger, so you're not really thinking about it until it happens.
Right.
So when it happened, I kind of was okay with it. I prayed about it. And I was okay with it because I was just like, I'm just going to trust God with the situation. Whatever happens, happens. So the first time, because I've had 2 procedures. The first time they went through the belly button, which is a myomectomy, and it leaves no scars because they go through there and then sew you back up and you're good. But the second time they had to actually do an open myomectomy where they cut you like a C-section.
Damn.
And that's the one I actually was scared because I've had all my kids natural.
Oh, wow.
So I've never been cut, and that was like so scary for me. I'm like, what if something happens?
Right.
Or anything, but everything went great. They were saying the reason for the open one and I couldn't get the first procedure again was because they were too big. The fibroids were too big. And on that video, I showed what the doctor sent me of what they look like inside and the centimeters. And so,
wow.
Hopefully
Did it
I don't have
shock
to
you
go
how
there.
big it was?
No,
No. Did
only
you feel it?
because I think so, but not like people think. Like not to the touch, but like inside, because when I got pregnant, my uterus was already 5 months pregnant with them before my baby. So I actually was going to get it done and they said I was pregnant, so I couldn't get it done. So I actually that's how they knew. They had did the
Ultrasound?
not the ultrasound, the MRI, because they always do that before surgery. And that's when I think like 3 months later they found out. They said, oh, you're pregnant. You're going to have to wait until you have the baby. So I asked them, would it be okay? Like,
right. Because it could burst.
Right. Anything.
Right.
Squish. I'm thinking it could probably squish the baby because my uterus is already 5 months pregnant with them. So they were like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But I was nervous because, doctors are always going to tell you that.
Right.
So I didn't know, what to expect. That was that last pregnancy was kind of the hardest because they couldn't find the heartbeat at times.
Oh, geez.
But it was there. But because of the fibroids, but you being pregnant, you don't know that. They're just like, oh, we don't hear the heartbeat and you panic. Like, so that's what I mean by all I had to do was pray. And thank God my baby is safe and healthy.
Thank God for that.
He just graduated from pre-K actually today.
Oh,
So,
congratulations. I know that
thank
must
you.
make you proud. Every accolade is it's such a good celebration for sure.
Right.
I have a guest in the audience because now we're starting these, allowing the guests to come and ask questions and speak their experiences with anything they hear on the show. I would like to bring up who we got here. And let's see. Oh, we got Sheila White. Miss Sheila Wright, when it come on over. So it's crazy, right? When I was watching some of the videos on you, she was in the room. She's like, oh my goodness, I went through that. I experienced that. I was like, oh my gosh, I would love for you to come up and tell me about this experience and, talk to you too about what she went through. Yes, come on over right here. You can be camera 3. And into the mic. Hi, Sheila.
Hi.
Okay. So Sheila, when I brought up that video, how did it make you feel when she was talking about her experience with the uterus fibroids?
Well, I experienced it as well. I like to let her know that usually 80% of women may experience fibroids. That is something that's one of the statistics. And I am a big believer in the Bible. And it talks about the woman with the issue of blood. And the woman with the issue of blood most likely had fibroids. So they talked about how she bled for 12 years. I had the experience of bleeding for 18 years.
Wow.
And so I had that fibroid. The fibroids was extremely large. They had to do the surgery too, but mine grew through my uterus. I had a fibroid that was so large that they had to get a stomach specialist as well as the OBGYN doctor to do that type of surgery. because of how large it was and how many years I experienced that. My hemoglobin count was a 6.1. Most women or most people have hemoglobin, a blood count of anywhere between 11.0 to 16.0.
Wow, so it's so low.
So I was walking around with less than half the blood level that a normal person would have. They warned me, had I been in a car accident, that I would have bled to death because my blood count was so low. So at the time before I had to have my surgery, I had to get on, they wanted to use me as a form of experiment for women to take these type of pills that had not even came on the market. Because my blood level was so low, they were saying that they would need to do a blood transfusion before even, in the surgery, do a blood transfusion. So they put me on these experimental drugs before it even hit the market, wanting to see if, in fact, it would bring my blood count up. So I was on that medication for about 3 weeks, and it brought my hemoglobin count up to a 9.4, I believe. So I did not have to have the blood transfusion, but they did go in and remove it. And when they removed it, of course, I elected to keep my ovaries. But when they removed it, they said it was the size of a miniature football.
Sheesh.
So I walked around with my stomach. Most people with fibroids have protruding stomach, look like maybe 5-6 months pregnant.
That's what she was saying.
I developed where I didn't have a whole lot of energy because of the many years of bleeding, because I was basically hemorrhaging. Most people with fibroids either have light menstrual periods or they have extremely heavy menstrual periods. And mine was extreme where I would hemorrhage constantly. So that's where I was losing the blood, and that's the reason why my hemoglobin count was so low. It was not producing fast enough for it to keep
to replenish, right?
Yeah, right.
Wow. So that's so important. Knowledge is power, I say, right? And when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I feel like we should talk about this on the show because I'm sure a lot of women are going through this, and some may be scared right away when they hear about it and be like, oh my God, is this fatal? What can we do? Will I lose my baby? So I wanted to touch that because it's important when you have your people that experienced and went through it, not just reading it in a book or reading it online, to know it's going to be okay. It's important to follow what the doctors say. Make sure you go to the doctor as soon as you feel something is wrong, because we wait. I'm sure if you handled it a little bit sooner, it wouldn't have been so extreme for you,
Well, I had been diagnosed with it, but one of the things with fibroids is that they have to give you some type of ultrasound to find out what type of fibroid it is, because some fibroids can be cancerous. There are other fibroids that aren't. So they had to, one, rule out the fact that this was one that was
cancerous,
not cancerous.
Right.
And second of all, is they needed to see if it was the type of fibroid that would grow during pregnancy, because at the time when I was diagnosed, I was already 3 months pregnant.
Oh, so you was pregnant too?
I was pregnant, yes. And I found out with my son, but they needed to know if it was the type of fibroid that would grow during pregnancy. Because if it was the type that would grow through pregnancy, then they would have to monitor me really close, because it can get as large as a baby and it causes you to abort quickly. So that's where a lot of people have miscarriages because of that. So I fortunately was one that I didn't have the type that grew during pregnancy. And because if I didn't experience difficulties afterward, then they said, okay, some people can live with it or whatever. But after a while, it developed where having sexual intercourse was very difficult, very painful and stuff. So I had to deal with it at that point, but I did carry
Yeah.
it for 18 years.
See, I would never let it go that long. And I feel like with these experiences, sometimes it's best to always get second opinions. Even if, say, you had your full term of your pregnancy, after that, keep following up and seeing how far it prolongs, because look what happened. You could have gotten in an accident and bled to death. Your blood count was so low, you didn't even know until you felt something was wrong, right? So always listen to your body. You know, I'm so proud of you for speaking up about this type of topic. You know, being a woman on television, I know we're scrutinized for everything, you know, and it's important for us to let people know we're human too. We're real, just like you guys are who are watching us on television.
And sometimes we don't want to share things because of
We're
them
afraid.
attacking
Yes.
or, you know, making things up.
Yes.
And another thing I want to say is I actually went to a doctor here.
Huh.
And this is why I don't deal with a lot of doctors in Vegas, because they told me originally, oh, you're going to have a hysterectomy. But because I was knowledgeable in it, my doctor who delivered my baby, I always have my kids at Cedars in LA. So I was born there. All my kids were born there. So my doctor was African American. The ones here were Caucasian. And I just felt like they weren't on my side because they were lying in my face.
That's why, girl, I say second opinion always, especially when it comes to big moments and big decisions like that.
Right, right. Because when they said hysterectomy, I said, that's a lie. And they were trying to challenge me on things. But see, my doctor that was African American already told me that delivered my kids, and she actually did the surgery on my mom. And she told me, you have options. It's not just hysterectomy. So when they told me that, I knew they were up to no good.
Right.
And it worried me because it made me feel like, what if a younger girl
Had
came
no
in there
knowledge.
and had it done and can't have kids because they told her that was her only
Absolutely.
option. So you also have to be careful with taking their opinion, because if something doesn't sit right, like you said, get a second or even third or fourth opinion if something doesn't sit right, or just be knowledgeable on yourself. Because if I wasn't, I probably would have let them, and who knows what they would have done to my body.
Absolutely.
You know, because, but I will say this, not all Caucasian doctors, because I know people and trolls always want to go, oh, she said they were Caucasian, that's why. Because the one who did my both of my surgeries is Caucasian. But see, he specializes, and he's at Cedars, he specializes in fibroids. But the ones that were in Vegas, I don't trust them. The ones that were at Cedars, also with my doctor, he was trustworthy.
I see.
You know, and I just felt like I remembered what my doctor told me that delivered my first daughter. But see, she retired from doing the surgery. So that's why I couldn't go to her.
Gotcha.
So, but she always told me, no, you have options. She said, yeah, your grandmother had this done. Your mom had this done. You have option. Don't let anybody tell you need a hysterectomy, because that's not true. There's so many different operations these days.
Yeah. And you know, you got to also remember you know what your number one doctor is? That doctor upstairs, you know. And it's funny, right? Because I was talking to Miss Sheila today, and we were mentioning about Nick Cannon and how Nick Cannon is deciding to have all these babies. Because did you see how he just announced another baby, right?
Oh, I didn't see.
Girl, yes. Just on he just announced another baby on the way, girl. And we were talking about it, and she's like, man, why are you having all these babies? And I said, well, did you not know, you know, he spoke about his disease and that he doesn't have that much time to live. And she's like, what disease? And I said, lupus. And she's like, well, you do know it's curable, right? I said, yeah, but you know, I'm sure he has top doctors to know what his situation is. And she's like, this is the doctor he needs to be talking to. He needs to start praying more. He needs to start doing this, that, because your mental, your mind, you can say, oh man, I'm gonna die, and you really, really will die if you really think that and live that. And you need to just still fight for it, because miracles do happen.
Right.
So I don't know. The Lord just told me to talk about that, because we talked about it earlier. I was like, you know what? Since she's here, let's bring that up. But yeah, girl.
And even herbs and things. After my second surgery, I actually been dipping in a little of the Dr. Sebi Herbs. His grandson took over the company. So I know they're opening an office, because I have a consultant here.
Ooh.
And she actually told me they're opening this weekend. But yeah, they were telling me, you know, you could do the herbs so you don't have to have the surgery. But the only issue I had is you have to be like vegan, eating like really healthy. So I start doing it and then I'll get off, but I try to still buy the products. Even though they're more effective doing their diet. Sometimes I try to like just keep taking it just to see, you know,
Okay.
if it'll help. But
guys, if you guys didn't know, I heard Larissa got a beauty line that she got going on. Are you still doing that? Talk to me about it.
So basically in the next month I will be opening Poshly Savage Beauty, which is my hair company. I call it my beauty line, really. It was going to be my hair company, but I'm going to sell lashes, hair, and potentially clothes.
Ooh.
I've been a licensed cosmetologist for over 18 years. And when COVID hit, I was just thinking, what could I do to make revenue, really good revenue? And I noticed like a lot of these girls are not licensed and they'll probably just get any vendor and sell it. But I know exactly what I'm talking about and what I'm doing. So I think that would be a good, and people ask me, oh, what are you wearing, or whose lashes or whose hair? And I said, so basically my site is like dedicated. Everything that's on there, I have tried. So if there's lashes or hair, I have tried. You know, it's nothing on there that I have not tried myself.
So with that being said, you know, I'm all about promoting and making sure our ladies are well taken care of when they come to the Bad and Boujee podcast. So I also have a beauty line called Bad and Boujee Beauty, and I'd like to gift you with your
Thank you.
set. And I would love for you to try it, review it. Let me know what you think. We got lashes, we got bonnets, we got lip glosses, lip stains, you name it. And I know you're going to need a bonnet tonight because that hair looking nice and laid.
Because you know it's Memorial Weekend, so I'm definitely going to be out.
I'm so happy. I gave you 2 different lashes because I didn't know your style. But now I see you, girl, you like it scandalous. So one of the lashes in there is called Scandal.
Okay.
Because they are scandalous. All right. So I want you to wear it. Tell me what you think. I'm glad. Do you have a website for your beauty line yet?
I will. It's ready, but I have not put it out yet because I'm waiting on my last product to be delivered.
Okay.
But it is poshlysavage.com, but they can go to my personal Instagram, which is Larissa the One, for updates.
Right up there, guys. So make sure you guys follow her. Stay in tune. Go check out her season on Flavor of Love and Charm School. And let us know what you think. Because, you know, nowadays we be forgetting the OGs and who really started this. You know what I mean? And be forgetting that sometimes the most hated could be the most loved. So I wanted people to really get to know who you were, know that you're human, know that we go through real things. And I'm so glad we were able to touch on so many important topics. Hopefully I can get you and Monique on the show or get to talking and just squash it. You know what I'm saying? Let her be real about what she said and what she did. And if she felt she was wrong or whatever, cool. If she still want to be hard at it, cool too. It is what it is. But at least you know what? I made the initiative to make sure, to try. You know, I want to see if that can work, because we're not getting any younger. We're getting older here. We're maturing. Just get past it, you know. And I'm planning on doing a charm school.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's called the Bad and Boujee Show. And maybe I'll bring you up as a guest. If you don't want to be in the school, you can just be a part of the school. How about that?
When is this?
Oh, we're gonna talk about it off here. You know, we can't give them all the tea just yet. But since you are an OG of Charm School, I would love to bring you on as a guest.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I would like that.
All right, y'all. So thank you so much for tuning into the Bad and Boujee podcast. Thank you, Sheila, for being our guest of the day, and from the audience to answer some questions and talk about your experience with uterus fibroids. I appreciate you. And always, you guys, thanks for tuning in every week and being so loyal and leaving your comments and tagging me on the gram. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Next week, it's going to get even better. So stay tuned for the Bad and Boujee podcast. It's yours truly, Sharice Mills.
Bad and bougie. I'm the top news. They watching
Thank you
my
so much,
moves,
babe.
hating me on the shade room. Yeah, I'm bad and bougie. Don't give me no rules. I do what I choose. Got you binge watching on Zoom.